I recognize myself for 5 minutes. If you had to give yourself a letter grade on your response, what would you give yourself so far?
Sir, I'm not giving myself a letter grade. I'm doing the best I can to look at what this incident
You said
was,
in your
what caused it.
you said in your opening statement, the EPA has closely coordinated with our federal partners and with officials in Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, Southern Ute and Ute Mountain tribes and the Navajo Nation to keep them apprised of water and sediment sampling results, which are routinely posted on our website.
That's
I got to tell you, I'm highly offended by those comments. Sitting behind you on the front row is the president of the Navajo Nation. I want to read some things from his testimony. These are his words, not my words. To begin with, the United States Environmental Protection Agency inexplicably delayed notification of the spill to the Navajo Nation. The spill occurred on the morning of August 5th, but the nation was not informed of the release until August 6th, a full day later, and not even by the Environmental Protection Agency, but by the state of New Mexico. It took the EPA almost 2 full days to notify us. We view this as a violation of the government-to-government relationship between the federal government and the Navajo Nation. How do you answer that?
Well, sir, I'm working closely with the president. I have great respect for him. And
No, you're not. No, you're not. You took 2 days before you called them.
Let me just answer. The call from New Mexico was the way in which we actually do these notifications. We work with states. That's not inappropriate.
To put in your statement that you're working closely with the Navajo Nation is totally misleading.
Sir.
I got to keep going. The Environmental Protection Agency also demonstrated complete lack of transparency. He goes on to say the media was receiving faster and fuller information from the EPA than the Navajo Nation. For example, the New York Times reported the spill hours before EPA provided the nation with the notice of the spill, and media sources reported the EPA confirmed the presence of arsenic on August 7th, whereas the Environmental Protection Agency still had not reported the presence of arsenic to the nation even by Sunday, August 9th. What's your excuse for that?
Sir, I have indicated that our notifications could have been better, but the Navajo was given
No, you
notice
didn't. In
the
your
day after.
testimony, you said you're working closely with
We
them.
are working
You didn't say
closely
you
with
screwed up on the communication.
Why
would it take 2 days?
I didn't say that either, sir. I said that we did take a day. I regret that. I wish it had been earlier, but the plume actually didn't reach Navajo until the 8th. So we had time to work with them, and we have been working hard to coordinate with them ever since.
Your first call was to the media, not to the Navajo Nation, and I have a problem with that.
I did not make any calls, sir, I don't...
Why? That's the problem. That's the problem. You didn't make a call. You have a president of the Navajo Nation, and you, personally, don't get involved in this. It's one of the worst spills we've ever had.
I did, sir, get involved. Could it have been earlier?
When did you call the president of the Navajo Nation?
I believe that I went to the site on the 11th and 12th.
Well, let's go to the site visit, because the president of the Navajo Nation wanted to visit the site, and you denied him. You would not take him to that site. We quote, this is from the Navajo president, "We requested a tour from the Environmental Protection Agency but faced immediate resistance. Staff indicated they would only take us to the confluence of the Cement Creek and the Animas River." He goes on, but you did not allow them, the EPA would not allow them to go to the site. Why not?
As far as my understanding, and I wasn't at the site of the mine, is that it was a dangerous location, and we brought them as close as they could, and they actually seemed at that point in time to be very satisfied that they were being protected and getting an opportunity to be at the site.
So you were doing it to protect them?
Many times, that is you yourself saw the site in the video. There was damage that occurred. We're keeping people safe, but there is no way in which we have kept people from going as close to the site as they could safely get. And the Navajo, in fact, went there.
They did not get there, and that's the testimony. Quote, "We finally convinced them to take us within a half mile of the point of release. We walked the rest of the way to the point of the release. There we saw a completely unblocked mine at it with an estimated 550 gallon per minute flow of bright opaque orange," and he goes on and on. You did not do that. You didn't call them. You didn't communicate with them. You told the media before you told them they wanted to go to the site. You wouldn't do that. And then you had the gall to hand out Standard Form 95 and walk along the river and try to get them to do waiver forms. And you only did that after the president said, "We are going to sue the EPA."
Sir,
why did you do that?
Sir, it's my understanding that we did not hand out claims forms. We had a long discussion following that concern. and we are now getting claims.
You are
from
not
others.
telling the truth. Here's the
Sorry,
quote
that's
from the
my
president of the
understanding.
Navajo Nation. Quote, "It was quick to dispatching staff to the Navajo communities to hand out Standard Form 95 and encourage members of the Navajo Nation to fill out forms to expedite settlement of their claims under the Federal Tort Claims Act and apparently to obtain release from members of the Navajo Nation. But this was only after I, again from the president, announced that the Navajo Nation would be suing the EPA. Do you deny that your people were handing out this form?
I do deny that we were going around trying to get anybody to sign these forms. Based on the information I had, that is not correct. Did we supply forms to the Navajo Nation leadership? Absolutely, because it is part of an opportunity for individual claims to be made. It is not a settlement or a release form. But we walk through those issues, and I think there's a much better understanding of the process for claims that the federal government has established, and I'm hoping that we can utilize our ability to work with them to recognize the damage that has been done and to fully account for that damage and to compensate for it. That is part of the process.
Standard Form 95, I encourage the media and everybody to look at it. Quote, "I certify that the amount of claim covers only damages and injuries caused by the incident above and agree to accept said amount in full satisfaction and final settlement of this claim." It is a settlement agreement.
No, it
the
is-
record reflects that, again, you're totally misleading, totally out of touch, and totally inappropriate in this instance.